Well, it's pretty much you can do anything, right? Anything that can be done remotely from a computer over the internet, you can do. Yeah, the only times you can't do something are like one, if it's like a physical thing on site, but that's for the maintenance people to do, right? Or you hire somebody to do that.
Hello, and thank you for joining us today on the Gentle Art of Crushing It show, where we focus on learning and sharing with our listeners all there is to know about how to create success in our lives. This show stands on the shoulders of giants. Our mission is to empower and inspire our listeners to create the life of their dreams whilst having a blast in the process. Let's celebrate life together. Welcome to the show.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Gentle Art of Crushing It. I am your host, Sean Graham, and today I have a special guest with me. Her name is Toni. Toni, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So, give the audience a little background for those, well, they don't know you, right? Toni was my first hire for hiring a virtual employee. So Toni has been with me through the thick and the thin. She's seen it all. She's seen me go from, a one-man band where I was doing absolutely everything to joining my team full time. She tried to get me to hire her entire family, part of which I did a little bit, right? Got your sister on board. And now Toni is still with me. She's managing multiple self-storage properties for me. So Toni, I'm happy to have you here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Like where are you from? Where are you located, first of all?
Yeah, so I'm from the Philippines. And I'm a mom. I am a real estate virtual assistant. And they call me the jack of all trades, but of course, the master of none. Yeah, so I do a lot of things here in the Philippines. So aside from doing virtual assistant, I'm also an aspiring chef. Well, just yeah. Yeah, and an aspiring artist as well. So that's all I can say.
And you love the social media and the TikTok and Instagram. You're always making videos. You're pretty good at that as well.
Yeah, it's just my way of relaxing myself. It's just my way of, yeah.
That's cool. So, how old is your son?
He is already 11 years old.
11 years old. So you have an 11-year-old. That's pretty fun, pretty cool. So we met right over Upwork, actually, right? And you were my first hire, and I've kind of gotten away from Upwork, right? Because I'm doing everything myself, actually going out and recruiting and finding the right people now. But I think we got lucky in terms of that, right? Because not everyone I've had a lot of not so great success coming from Upwork, right? You've seen some people come and go, but this one's worked out pretty well. You've been with me for, what is it, like 2 or 3 years, something like that. So yeah. It's been fun. So did you do, because I don't even remember at this point, like, what were you doing in real estate before we started working together?
Yeah, so I work with realtors. I was helping them with transactions, acquisitions, and also I handle their social media. And I also sometimes I do cold calling for their prospects, for their sellers. And I also worked with wholesalers doing fix and flip, buy and hold, and also calling buyers. So that was my job. And also doing lead generation, like doing researching properties for them, off market, um, also probate leads, so different kind of lists that they need.
Yeah. That's good. That's awesome. And so we kind of started off, right? You were doing like many different things. It was more of like a general role for you. The intention was never, hey, Toni, you're going to be the full-time property manager for Maven Storage and manage all the facilities. But it kind of ended up as like we moved forward and moved along, like that seemed to be a good fit. But you were doing other stuff as well. Remind me, like what were you doing? What were the roles kind of starting out at Maven Storage, and how did that kind of evolve into the property management?
Yeah, I was doing land analysis, more property management, and doing some research, so those were, yeah, doing some phone calls sometimes.
I think I even had you doing a little bit of accounting work too. I think I had you like, doing some bookkeeping for Stessa for my rental properties.
Oh yeah, once. But then I mentioned about my sister.
Yep. And that's when you said, I'm not the person for the job. You need to hire Joanna. And yeah, so now I have your sister's on board as well. She's been with us almost as long. She does all the bookkeeping and accounting, and she's pretty great at that. So yeah. And then it was kind of got narrowed down, right? It was like, all right, you know, your highest and best use is not analyzing development deals, right? Land. It's actually managing the properties and communicating with tenants and things like that, right? So I guess, can you tell the audience a little bit about what you are doing for property management for self-storage? Like, what are the softwares that you are getting in, and like, what's your job? What are you able to do, and like, what have you been doing?
Yeah, so basically, what I'm doing is, of course, to take care of our tenants, answer all their if there's any complaints or if there's any problems, and also coordinating with the call centers, um, with the contractors, as well as our maintenance. So that's my daily job. And also, aside from that, I also help with the marketing. So I create and send out flyers to all the businesses around 50, like I think 5 miles away from the facility. So yeah, so I also handle the CRM, so I update it from time to time. Of course, whenever the maintenance send us an update regarding each unit, so I make sure that the CRM is up to date and the website is up to date as well. Yeah.
So you're talking about like, you're actually maintaining the inventory of the units, right? Like, actually, hey, is it locked? Is it not locked? Is it dirty, clean? Is this person on time, not on time, right? And then what do you do from there? Like, what are the specifics with how we work with maintenance companies, and what that looks like? Because you're communicating with those guys all the time.
So every Monday, I make sure that I speak to them first. I make sure that I'll be on the phone, or I send them a text regarding all the units that we need all the units that we need to check. Like if there's a need to overlock, if the unit is empty, just to make sure that the facility or the unit is good to rent. And aside from that, I also coordinate with the call center. How are they doing? If they are using the right system, if they're using the right script. And I also, every Monday as well, I also send out all the tenants, or name of the tenants who we will be going out for auctions. So that's what I usually do. And then the rest of the week, it's more on, whatever I can do, it's more on managing, attending to tenants' concern, and also if there's a need to coordinate with the contractors. So that's it.
Yeah, no, that's good. And it's handling the Da Vinci locks too, right? We use these Da Vinci locks to like lock units, unlock them. And some people might say, well, like, why text the maintenance companies, right? Like, why do you like take this step of like, hey, you are communicating with them directly? And the answer for us, right, is because a lot of times, like, our maintenance guys, they're not high tech people. In fact, like, texting's about as far as they go, right? So they're great at maintaining the facility, they're great at keeping it clean, right? But like, their main jobs might be plowing snow or mowing lawns. And so they're not going to get into storage and go through the reports all by themselves. So they're not even going to get into the DaVinci Lock app or anything like that. So for us, right, a lot of times it's better. You jump on, on the computer Monday morning, you find out exactly what needs to be done, and then you tell the maintenance ahead of time, right? And then when they go there, they can either call you or text you, and you guys can coordinate together, like while they're at the facility. Is that anything you'd add to that?
Yeah, so the reason why that we're texting them as well is because aside from the fact that they're not tech savvy, it's for documentation as well. So we have the photos; they're sending the photos through phone. They're sending the list. So from there, if ever we need to go back or backtrack, we can. It would be easy.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. Exactly. So we like to verify everything with, like you're saying, like with picture verifications, right? So like we use, right, you use a Google Voice number and you maintain that number. And so the maintenance, right, they like, okay, overlock unit 100, they can take a picture of the unit with the DaVinci lock on it and send it to you. And then you have the proof that it was done, right? And so this is kind of our check, our way of like actually knowing that things are being taken care of, right? Because kind of it, maybe you can elaborate a little bit on this, but we've been in some situations where the maintenance or the other property manager, right, like before we take over, saying, hey, we're maintaining everything, but there's no accountability, and so nothing is actually happening. So the entire purpose of what you're doing is like it's that check, it's that safety level, it's that level of accountability that the inventory is as it states it is. It's not fun, right? We've used some like in the past. I won't say badmouth. We won't badmouth anyone, but in the past, we've worked with other people who've maintained the facilities, right, as management, but they weren't actually checking, right? They weren't actually like making sure that things were the way they say they were. So when you take over a facility like that, there's no, you have to completely do the inventory again because you don't know what is accurate, what's not. People are trying to rent units that they can't rent, or they're renting units that, shouldn't be rented, or they have somebody else in there. It just becomes a disaster. And so that's kind of why we do it the way that we do it.
And also, like I said, it's easier to backtrack. It's easier to cross match it with the information that we have in our CRM. So, yeah.
So tell me, you are in Easy Software Solutions as well, right? You're in StoreEdge, you're in both of those. What are your thoughts on those softwares? Do you like one more than the other? Do you find them easy to use? Anything you do in there? Because you're communicating with these tenants through email and text, but mostly through the platforms, right?
Yeah. Well, in terms of the system, I like storage more because it's for me it's user friendly, and I think all the information that we need are there, and their customer service is better as well. They're just one call away. It's very easy to contact. I Unlike with the easy storage that I have to leave a message before they contact me back. So I guess this just the difference between the two. The Whenever we have a problem and we need to reach out to them, it's the customer service.
Yep. 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 I agree. And then the other thing, right, is you haven't been managing the phones, right? Like actually we contract with third party call centers, but we talked about that recently. We're probably going to actually bring that in house, and you're kind of going to oversee that, like that part of it. So not, you won't necessarily be the call center person, but kind of overseeing that, right? So we've done that with other facilities. We've helped them or other self-storage investors and property managers. We've helped them build out their call centers, right? Because the thing is, third party call centers can be, it can be expensive once you start adding up all the facilities. But sometimes when you have the scale, it makes a lot of sense to just do this in house and to actually like, you know, manage, put in like an overtime team, right? To like kind of manage the
Right.
calls on the weekends as opposed to it going to, um, a third party who isn't really the greatest service, just to kind of manage like overflow, things like that. Um, and so we're looking at doing that as well, right? Where we kind of have the facilities, the number of facilities where it would make sense. And that really can be just done, just depending on how big you are. You can use call potential, things like that, softwares like that, or right, you can just have it on Google Voice, and it just the calls go straight to Google Voice, and you have a team like monitoring that Google Voice phone number, right? Like you have it on your
Right.
phone, right? In the Philippines, you have the Google Voice app there, and you can answer that phone and be able to help whoever at any time, right?
If we're going to do it in-house, if we're going to have some changes with regards to scripting, or if we do have any updates regarding promotions, it would be easier for us to relay the information to them, especially if they're also from the Philippines, and the communication would not be that tricky, because we can we can talk in vernacular, so it would be easier, where we're not, or if they're not on the phone, so it would be easier to understand. And also, if there's a problem, it will be easier for us to reach out to them, because we already know their attitude, their.
Right, right, right. Yeah, I get what you're saying. You're basically saying like, okay, so if you actually are managing the phones and managing everything yourself, well then you are the property manager, you're able to take care of things right away, as opposed to a third party platform who's, they're managing hundreds of facilities, and
Yes.
not the greatest service. They answer, then they put a note in Store Edge, and then you see that note the next day or something like that. And then it's like you have to go back and communicate with that tenant. And it's kind of like this game of telephone. It's this like gap in communication, which lowers the customer service. And so the
Right.
idea is that, once you have the scale and the number of facilities where it makes sense, you
Yes.
can add, like, you can actually have a much higher level of customer service by having this all in
Right.
house, right?
Right.
And as Tony's well aware, I built out like a company to actually help other
Mhm.
other business owners do this, right? Like, and it's not even
Right.
just self storage; it's pretty much anything as long as it makes sense.
Yes.
So it's like, okay, build out like a small team of a couple people from
Mhm.
the Philippines or from Egypt or from wherever, really. Like we go out and find the best, and then able to handle the phones, handle the maintenance, handle property management, all of that. And the cool thing is, right, is that it can be two ways, right? You can actually increase the the revenue in the occupancy, right, by doing this in house, um, and make more money on a monthly basis. And then you can actually decrease the expenses as well, right? You can lower your operating expenses, which, as we know, it's makes you more profitable and it makes your facility more valuable. And so
That is
that is Tony's number one job, right?
correct. Yeah. I handled a team before, and it would, you know, whenever you're dealing with Filipino virtual assistants, uh, of course there will be time difference, but we know how to um, adapt to the schedule. We know how to make sure that things are going well. So if we're going to use our call center in house, or use our own call center, it would I think the day to day activities will be better.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. for sure. I mean, we're recording this podcast right now at 3 p.m. Eastern time, right? Uh,
Yeah.
and it looks like, you know, for you, it's the middle of
It's 4
your
a.m.
day,
here.
right? But it's really 4
Yeah.
a.m. But that's just what you
Yes.
do. You've been doing it for, you know,
Yes.
many years, and it's no different. And, you know, my work day here is your work day. And that's just the way it is because you're in that business, right? Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So do you sleep? Do you ever sleep? How does that work?
Oh yeah, I do. It depends. It depends if I'm sleepy or not, because yeah, since I started working out, I was able to stay awake until 6 o'clock in the morning, our time. Sometimes I was able to sleep around 7, or sometimes I also sleep in the afternoon.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So it's more spread out a little bit. But what in like 6 a.m., that'd be 5 p.m. Eastern time. And then, you know, you're saying, well, okay, my day's over. I go to sleep, and that's cool. It works. It works for you. But then you got to get up and take your kid to school as well, right?
Yes, that's one thing as well. We have to make sure that we're giving time, quality time to them. Of course, that's important.
Yeah. So can you kind of talk about like more on like the personal side, like how is this work for you and stuff, and like financially, how is it for you, you know, because it's a lot of people here in the US, they say, well, you know, that's not you know, it doesn't make sense. How can you pay somebody like that? And the thing is, we won't go into your specific rate, right? But like a lot of times, you know, you hire people on the other side of the world, and they're working hourly, right? And the work is basically you're paying single digit, right? Like a lot of the people I end up hiring, I think our average for the people that we place and help other companies, you know, hire, it's about $6 an hour. But $6 an hour in the Philippines is a lot different than $6 an hour here in the US. So can you kind of talk about that a little bit and just kind of clarify, because sometimes some people might be offended by that, right? And like, what is the truth? What is, or at least what is your perspective on that?
Regarding the rate, of course, you have to give value in order to get what you deserve. Um, in my case, I started uh 30 pesos. I'm not sure. I think it's less than $1 when I was starting. But it was an Australian company. That was my very first job as a virtual assistant. But after that, I started to scale up. I added more skills. I learned a lot, or I watched a lot of videos about doing admin work, about calling, about sales. So I started to scale up and I think the next rate I got was $3 per hour. And then um, after that, yeah, I started to scale up to what I'm getting now. So yeah,
Done pretty well. So
right.
you've gone a long ways, right?
Right. Imagine it's been 10 years. I mean, I've been a virtual assistant for 10 years now. So, of course. Yeah. So $6 per hour here, especially if you're a full-time VA, it's actually a lot already here.
Yeah. And you're actually significantly above that, right? But so
Yeah.
for us, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you've earned that too. You've been working for a long time. You've put in the hours, you
Yeah.
put in the work, like you kind of built yourself up. And it's just like any other
Right.
career or anything, right? Like you don't just,
Yeah.
people here in the US, they don't start making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, right? Like they have to
Right.
start somewhere. It might be a $40,000 a year job or whatever. And
Hmm.
they have to work their way up, and then they make more and more money. It's the same way. But
Right.
I guess a bigger picture, right? Like, is
Hmm.
like for you living over there, um,
Hmm.
is it a good, what would you say, like standard of living? Is this a good standard of living working as like a remote employee, a virtual assistant?
Yes, it is. Compared to what others are getting from here, yeah, this already a good. It is already a good amount or rate for us to live, decently. Well, it really depends on the person, if they're really spending a lot or they splurge a lot. But for let's say for $6 per hour and you're working full time, you can already take your family to a decent vacation. You can already uh, buy a lot of groceries or foods for that money. So it really depends on how you budget it.
Sure. Yeah, yeah, that's cool. I mean, you're
Um,
saying basically every person's gonna, you
yeah,
know,
it really
spend
depends.
more or less. Everybody person's different,
Yes.
but that it can, you can you can have a great life,
Mhm.
being a virtual assistant and even,
Right.
around those rates. So that's cool
Hmm.
that's cool to know. Because some people just, they don't know, we don't know over here. And the
Hmm.
cost of living on the other side of the world are drastically different than they are here.
Hmm.
And the cool thing is, as you guys can see, right, Toni is just another
Hmm.
human being sitting on the other side of the world. She's a
Yeah.
person just like you and me, and she does a great job. And she's got her family, and she wants to work and have a good life, and that's what it's all about. And for
Right.
me, right, it helps me from a business standpoint because I'm able to
Hmm.
to do to really to become more profitable from a self-storage
Right.
standpoint. So lower overhead from my standpoint.
Hmm.
Like I wouldn't make any sense to go hire somebody over here for 50 grand a year or 100 grand a year. It wouldn't make any sense at all. Like I couldn't do that, right? And so then the second option is like, well, I do everything myself. And that's
Hmm.
what I was doing, literally everything
Hmm.
myself. And then I said, Toni, I need your help. And then
Yeah.
she took a ton off my plate, right? And I'm
Hmm.
able to
Right.
grow and scale and then go focus on other things, focus on finding more facilities, focusing on finding
Hmm.
land to develop or building relationships or um, connecting with banks, going to see facilities, doing the work that I can't
Hmm.
outsource, right? Like I can't outsource um, talking to like a bank and negotiating terms.
Hmm.
Like I have to do that because I'm the one
Yeah.
who's going to be signing on the debt. Uh, but a
Hmm.
lot of the stuff, the day to day stuff, Toni
Hmm.
takes over, or Toni's sister, takes over, or other people I have on the team, and it goes a long way. So Toni's been doing a great
Right.
job, and she's worked for me for a very very long time and helped me break into this world. So thank you, Toni. I appreciate all that
Well,
you have
thank you
done.
as well. Yeah, and I'm also grateful for you. Like I said before, I'm also grateful for your help because it was my first time managing a storage facilities. Remember when we talked about before? Because I'm used to managing residential properties. So without your help, of course, I won't be able to do this, and of course with the others as well, like the maintenance. I'm not just putting credit all to myself, but of course, you also help us, to whatever we need to do. So yeah, so we're grateful.
You're welcome. Yeah, no, thank you
Yeah.
for saying that. It's not sometimes people want to hire employees, right? Whether they're
Mhm.
stateside or on the other side of the world, and they think it's just going to be a turnkey solution. Like, oh, okay, hire this person, set it, forget it, and I'm done. I don't have to deal with anything again. And truth is, it's like, no,
Mhm.
you're a person, right? And you make mistakes, and you have to learn, and you have to improve,
Yeah.
and we have to work together, and right, like we meet one on one on a weekly basis to review issues.
Mhm.
We meet as a whole team, right? Like for an hour every week just to like go through everything that has this team related, and then
Mhm.
you're able to handle like the majority of the problems, or not even problems but just maintenance,
Mhm.
routine operations, so that I can focus on the other things. And that being said, can you talk a little bit about what we do for training? Like what do we do, just talking about like Google Drive and video
Yeah.
training and standard operating procedures. Like would you just kind of explain a little bit about how that works and how you're able to learn?
Yeah, so every week we have a training, a team meeting. So that's what we call it. So it's also a good one for us because we always laugh. And also, yeah, so we discuss everything from property management, marketing, accounting, all areas of the business. And we also have one-on-one meeting every week. So we have each of us will have a time with Sean, an hour to work on something, if and also to discuss what is going on in the business and any problems that we encounter during the week. So that's what we do. And then if there's anything that we need to document, we put it into SOP, so we have it in our Google Drive. So we have each folders for different facilities. So we collect everything. We make sure we compile everything. So it would be easier for us to backtrack in case we encounter any problems. So we all another thing is we also check all our CRMs, all our systems, our websites, the people who are working with us, the call center, the maintenance, the contractors. So that's what we usually do every week. That's how hands on.
Well, it's pretty much you can do anything, right? Anything that can be done remotely from a computer
Yeah.
over the internet, you can do. The only times,
Yes, exactly.
yeah, the only times you can't do something are like one if it's like a physical thing on site, but that's for the
Yeah.
maintenance people to do, right? Or you hire somebody to do that because that's not the highest and best use of my time to go
Hmm.
do that or your time anyways. Like even if you were here, that's a
Hmm.
different person, a different role. And then um the other thing is like if you run into something you haven't seen before, and
Hmm.
then it's like, okay, you need help with that. So then we go through, we
Right.
work through it. If it's something I can do online, we do it. We do a video training, we record it, we get on a
Hmm.
Zoom, hit record, and then we store that in Google Drive. And
Right.
you have that forever. So if you haven't done something, if you haven't done, let's just say auctions, right? You manage all of the auctions for us,
Hmm.
correct?
Right.
So if you forget the exact auction process, what
Right.
do?
Well, I just go back to our Google Drive and check if I'm doing it right. So that's how important that we have all the documents compiled or stored in our
And
Google Drive.
you can replay those video training sessions that we did together,
Yes, right.
and you can go rewatch it. So step one is to go do it. If you forget something, you go check the standard operating procedures. It's like, okay, if you need more information, you go rewatch
Hmm.
the video training that we have stored away, and then you're able to like go through and like refresh your memory or solve the
Hmm.
problem. And then the fourth step is like, okay, if that doesn't work, then you come and you ask me, right? Or
Yes,
we review it in our one-on-one meeting, unless it's something
right.
that is urgent, and then you reach out to me directly and we take care of right away. So, uh,
Yes.
anything else you would add there, or do you think that sums it up?
Yeah, of course, the maintenance procedures are there as well. Um, what else? Yes, we also make sure that all our logins are in the same in one place. I mean, we don't go anywhere, to check the username and passwords.
That's
Yeah,
right.
LastPass. Yeah,
So we have
of
team
course.
shared folders and LastPass, so that like
Right.
they're actually secure passwords, and
Yes.
they're not just like storage 123 as the
Right.
password. They're actually like secure passwords, and they're stored in
Right.
there. Yep, everybody has access to.
Right.
Anything
So we're
else?
not all over the place.
Right,
So
right.
we're very organized. Yeah.
Yeah. So you also help other businesses and stuff outside of just
Mhm.
working for me, because you're able to take on a
Yeah.
little bit more. What else do you do? Because you do some other work as well, correct?
Yes. I also work with a realtor, a commercial realtor, a commercial broker from Florida. It's just part time. And then a realtor from South Carolina. So I help them with social media. I help them with their day to day. administrative activities. So with commercial, I almost handle everything as well. So from managing their emails, their CRM, their transactions. I also send out newsletters. So that's what I usually do.
Cool. Cool. Then are you still
Yeah.
helping? Because I know you had some other virtual assistants or remote employees kind of working for you as well for
Yes.
other are you still doing that too?
Yeah, I do.
Cool. So you have like a small
Yeah.
team if somebody needs, you
Yeah.
know,
This is yeah. I only have a few people who's helping me. So
gotcha.
if yeah,
Well, Toni, any goals for this upcoming year, 2024?
yeah, of course. One of my goals is to get more tenants for all the facilities. Um, Another thing is to well, personally, another thing is to open a food business here. It's just a small food business. So that's one.
What kind of
And
food?
then I'm more into cooking lasagna, pasta, and
Really?
some Filipino dish. Yeah,
Is that common, like the Italian food in the Philippines?
not really. Not all people here knows how to cook that. So I think it would be like an edge for me. And I also try different pasta, just like the crab alige. I mean the crab fat. I tried that during my birthday, and they loved it. So I think I could add that to the rest to the menu.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, your full name is, we call you Toni, right? That's your nickname, but your full
Yeah.
name's actually, what is it? Is it Antoinetta?
Wrong. Yeah,
Antoinetta?
Maria Antonietta.
Maria Antoinetta. Yeah, so that sounds pretty
Yes.
Italian actually. So there you go.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
You better blame my father
Yeah.
because my father's name is Anthony.
Oh, he's
So
Anthony. Okay. All right. This my wife loves that name. She's Italian. She loves the all the Italian names, Anthony, and
yeah.
that's cool. Very cool. Well, anything else you'd like to add, and also where can people, if they just want to connect with you, where can they how can they get in touch with you?
Yes. So you can we will just flash the email here, I think. And also want to add because you mentioned about some people don't know about virtual assistants because I have talked to others before that they said that they will just hire people from the United States because it's more on because it's easier for them because but then they still tried, they still hired a VA because of the time management. I mean, they can just they can work even it is holiday there, even if it's a holiday here. So we're really flexible, and of course, the quality of the work I think is the same. So um, when it comes to working with businesses from the United States, we make sure that we can free up your time. We can do all the things that you don't want to do or you don't have time to do. So you'll be able to. We'll make sure that we'll take care of your business.
That's cool. That's awesome. Awesome. Good stuff. Well, um, yeah, we'll put your contact information in the show
Yeah.
notes. And all right, Toni. Well, it was awesome having you on the show.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for joining. You did a great job, and yeah, you still are doing a good job. So now this is the month this is a big celebration month in the Philippines, right? This is Christmas time,
Yeah.
and
It's
it's
Christmas.
a big
Yeah.
party, right?
Right. Actually, like I said earlier, we started decorating, singing Christmas carols as early as September. That's how long Christmas here is. And they started buying gifts, I think October, as early as October, because
Oh my goodness. So it's
they don't
like 3 or 4
wanna,
months of Christmas there.
yeah, right.
Wow. That's fun though.
That's how, yeah.
That's
And
cool.
Christmas here is really fun, you know.
Oh
I
yeah.
hope you can visit us. You can visit the Philippines and experience Christmas here.
I would like
It's really
to.
amazing.
I would like to. I've
Yeah,
heard the
yeah. Bring your
beaches are
family.
beautiful and yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That would be a lot of fun. And then I'll come over and
exactly.
have some Italian food with you
Yeah, why not? Sure. And Filipino dish, of course.
in the Filipino dishes. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Tony. Well, thank you for joining us. And everyone, this is The Gentle Art of Crushing It. I'm your host again, Sean Graham. And today I had with me Maria Antonietta Landoy, all right? Also known as Tony. All right, guys. Until the next episode, thank you.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Another episode of The Gentle Art of Crushing It. It was an amazing episode. We know we sure learned a lot, and we hope you did as well. We want to take a second and thank you so much for viewing or listening to this episode. And please just know that we only ask for one favor, and that is to make this life magnificent. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.